This man was your great-great-uncle, and he lived in a small town, and he was about your age in some of the pictures. In the Second World War, he went to war in 1944. He was shot down in May of 1944, and I think you can find some records about the plane that he went down in. And the plane that he was in was a Halifax bomber. There were 8 crew in the plane, and it said that there was 1 survivor. And I don't know any more about that. It's a bit of a mystery. And he was called from, I think, because England needed more help near the end of the war. They were calling on the Commonwealth countries to help them. And Canada was doing a huge part in the Second World War. He was stationed out of England, and the Royal Canadian Air Force were working with the Royal Air Force out of England. He was stationed north of London somewhere. I think you can find it in your notes maybe. And he was shot down over Belgium, and there's a name of the place in Belgium, near the place in Belgium where he was shot down. I think the goal was to, that particular, I don't know what it's called, but when they go off on these trips, that particular one was to, I think it was a rail installation or something like that, but you checked that for me, what they were doing that time. But basically they were trying to defeat Hitler, and near the end of the war it was all about the Germans, and they were doing everything they could at that point. He had an older brother who was in the war, a career soldier. That means he was in the war for 25 or 30 years. And he was older than him. Then he had another older brother. They both survived the war. They came home after the war. But then his third brother died about 6 months before he did, and they were all in the Navy. He's the only one that chose to go into the Air Force. He was, I don't know what his position was. He went in, as I mentioned, to the Royal Canadian Air Force, and that uniform he's wearing is the Royal Canadian Air Force uniform. He had a goal before he went to war. He did want to be a doctor. He was a very good student and wanted to be a doctor, and he changed his mind, and his family tried to, they tried to discourage this decision. And I think it's because his brother, that was 2 years older than he was, signed up the year before. And I think that was part maybe of his decision for wanting to go, even though he was the 4th in the family.